1-800-449-8255. And welcome to, I guess it's Tuesday, May 27, 2024. And this is part due, D-U-E-X or D-E-U-X, of my review of Genesis Duke. I was so rudely interrupted yesterday by my phone running out of data. The solid gold with only 4% nickel, Clark the Shark Sharkerphone, not a microphone. It's a Sharkerphone. Golden, mostly gold with some nickel. The Stanley Cup has nickel too, so, come on. Genesis Duke. Now, I got through most of it yesterday here on the Clark the Shark Extravaganza. It's not an extravaganza. It's an extravaganza here with Sharky on the Sharky Show. And let's see. I was talking about how Hackett left the band. And, what do the stars say about this? I'm curious. All music. Wow, 4 out of 5. Encyclopedia of Pop Music, 4 out of 5. Q gives it a 3 out of 5. What? Well, that might be the only accurate review here, you guys, is the one by Q. Everyone else is, giving it 5, 4, 4.5. Record Mirror, Rolling Stone gives it a 4. I mean, this is what a lot of people wrongly say. This is a Phil Collins solo album. It's not, you guys. This still sounds like Genesis. There's still plenty of double neck, stuff like that. Look at, is that Getty? Who is that? Rutherford's always playing a double neck, you guys. I think Rush and Genesis are the main offenders with double necks. Now, I reviewed yesterday side 1. If there's a weakness to this album, it might be Phil's vocals. His singing's really monotone and almost sounds out of key or something. Like he doesn't have any range. And yet he's got this pop commercial, really safe sanctuary voice that you can run to and hide in so you don't have to face real problems of life. He's one of those guys you can just hide in his vocals and get lost there and no one will find you, which is ironic because his own life at the time of this album was falling apart, like his marriage and the band was just barely staying together with glue or something. Now, Steve Hackett left after Wind and Wuthering, I should say after Seconds Out, the live album. And then there were 3, which is an interesting album. One of me, Clark the Shark, one of my favorites by Genesis. Now I got through most of this, Behind the Lines, Duchess, Guide Vocal, Man of Our Times. I like all those songs. Misunderstanding is basically Phil solo. I'm not wild about it, but when I hear it, it's like a guilty pleasure. I listen to it. Heathays or Heathays I like. And, Turn It On Again. Once again, it's like a Phil pop song, but still, maybe not. No, because Tony Banks keyboards are so interesting on it. And probably the least interesting thing of this album, other than Phil's vocals, would be Rutherford's guitar playing, which is very nondescript, understated, whatever you want to call it. And I guess it's all right, Now, he might argue and say, Shockey, I'm no Steve Hackett, but I'm still really good. I'll be like, yeah, I'll give you that, Mike. I can barely hear him in this mix, you guys. Cul-de-sac. Like I said yesterday, you guys, great song. The best song on the whole album. Alone Tonight and Please Don't Ask, a couple of Phil songs that I'm not too wild about, but I appreciate or something, and I will listen to. They're interesting. But this album to me is mainly interesting for Tony Banks on keyboards. He seems to still be doing a lot. Now, what I didn't get to yesterday was the final, right when my video cut out, I was going to talk about tracks 5 and 6 on side 2, which of course are Duke's Travels and Duke's End. Both the most interesting things on this album. To me, they're both instrumentals, you guys. It doesn't list Duke's Travels here at Wikipedia as an instrumental, but I guess it is, you guys. Duke's Travels, Duke's End kind of ties it up as a little neat rock opera here at the end, you guys. And because of those two songs and how progressive the drumming, everything, the bass, I think Rutherford's playing a fretless bass on a lot of this album. I could be wrong there, but I think he is. And Tony Banks with just the dexterous keyboards. I don't know if dexterous is a real word, but if it is or isn't, I'm going to use that word because it's very technical, complicated, and intricate keyboards by Tony Banks. All over this album, but especially on Duke's Travels, Duke's End. It's a great way to end this album, you guys. It takes you back to Wind and Wuthering and A Trick of the Tail and maybe even The Lamb Lies Down, you guys. I'm serious. I even get a vibe like Wind and Wuthering throughout this album. I do. In spite or despite all the pop that's all over it with Phil. Now, this truly would be the last interesting Genesis album. After this, they get like hip hop or dance or something, or like drum machine music. Like it's almost like Abacrap is like artificial, cheap, plastic, really bad rock. I don't see how that album sold so well, but I guess it's got catchy ideas on it. Kind of like this album, but the playing on that album is far less complicated than this album, Duke, 1980. And then moving forwards, all their albums start to get like that, where they're if you really listen to them, you can hear technical stuff still happening, especially with the bass playing by Mike Rutherford and the guitar and the keyboards still, even on Invisible Touch and Abacrap and Three Sides Live and 3x3 and that other album or two that they did later, We Can't Dance, or I don't know, I forget. The one with No Son of Mine or whatever, or they got a bunch of just garbage after this album that sounds like Phil solo. It does more than it does like Genesis. But if you really listen hard, you might go, hey, Clark the Shark, they're still technical. They still got something going on even those really shitty, lame, cheap plastic albums that would happen after this one. But this is definitely like the last meat and potatoes album where they still very much sound like Genesis, you guys. 1-800-449-8255, The Clark the Shark Show. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this like a 7.8. I don't know if I would give it an 8, and I don't know if I would give it a 7. In some moods, it might get an 8.1, 8.2. but it never reaches the level of 9 or 10 or anything like that, you guys. Because of the inclinations and directions into pop music, I take points away. And yet, for that reason, I give points because they're writing catchy radio songs, and it's probably something the management, the lawyers, the publicists, the agents, the record label wanted them to do. And then there were three before this. They were like, we're going to do an album like that, but we're going to go back in time and turn back the clock and do a bunch of progressive rock also on the same album. So they didn't completely sell out here. They could have. They could have done a bunch of shitty fucking songs like ABBA Crap and, No Reply at All and, like Phil Solo type of shit. But they didn't quite do that here. And for that, I commend them. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show. To wrap up my review, which began yesterday, Monday, and got cut off, you guys. I hate it when the Clark the Shark Show gets cut off. And I know it's wrong and bad to hate. You should never say ever that you hate anything out there, people. But if you want, you can hate me, Clark the Shark. I don't care. Or you can love me. That would be like where I might care, maybe not. I don't know. But I want you to buy Duke by Genesis. And you tell them that Clark the Shark sent you. And you're going to discover an album that is confused. It is part progressive rock that is as progressive as The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, mixed with really shitty, poppy, radio-friendly hits that are as washy and stereotype. I don't know what the word is. Run-of-the-mill, like a Phil Solo album. It's half and half, or maybe even like 2/3 prog and 1/3 pop. Something like that, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And I discovered something, you guys. I totally forgot that I already reviewed this album on that other YouTube channel long ago, about a year ago. It could be, weird things are happening, you guys, with my memory. I'm 59 now. I call myself 60. But here in 2024, I'm still 59. I was born in 1965. But it's like I'm losing my mind, going crazy. Remember when Glenn Beck went insane? And then I guess he got some fucking Prozac or some shit. And then he got kind of well, or maybe he did yoga or something, or some natural vegan therapies or pills or something. Well, my memory is doing that now, you guys, and I will forget shit like who sings what on a Uriah Heep album, or now I'll never forget who sings what with the Who. Like you can tell when Entwistle sings, or when Roger sings, or when Pete sings. But if I ever forget shit like that, like the Who, Tommy, and the Who Sell Out, like who sings what, that's when I know I'm entering that phase of full-blown dementia or some shit like that. 1-800-449-8255, the Shark-a-Llama Ding Dong, the Shark-a-Doodle-Doo, the Clark the Shark Show. Still the smoothest, fastest, cleanest talk radio delivery on the internet. Right there with Eminem, Dr. Dre, Hannity, Hush Bimbo, Howard Douchebag, all of them. As funny as Greg Gutfeld from Fox, and no one writes for me, you guys. I write all my own shit right out of my brain. Improv, like a cappella, on the spot usually. Sometimes I say shit that's so funny that I gotta take notes. I have to, you guys. I come up with fucking amazing genius shit. And sometimes I'm like, that's so fucking good, I gotta write it down. But usually no. It's just all spur of the moment, off the cuff, shooting from the groin type of shit, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And I admit it's fucking amazing. And I'm very worried, you guys, about the other channel, as it now has 2 strikes. And you know how the liberals and Democrats that run YouTube are. They will delete you no matter what using AI. Just like Uber will deactivate a driver for Uber or Uber Eats using AI. And believe me, your friends and the Republicans at Fox News will delete you too if you don't fall in line lockstep with Trump and all that stuff. It's true, you guys. If you bitch about high rent, Greg Gutfeld would delete you in a heartbeat. He'd be like, you fucking loser, go get 3 jobs and pay $3,000 a month and move in with 8 people. That's what Hannity would say to you. But I won't here on the Clark the Shark Show. I'll never say that. If you want to bitch about high rent all over the country, especially in your friends, the blue states ran by your heroes, if you're such a socialist cradle to graver, you want the silver fucking spoon in your mouth from the time you're 5 till you're 85, and you're a Democrat, blue blood, yellow dog, douche-crat. Be my guest, you guys. See where government help will get you in life. You'd be fucking better off driving Uber Eats at 4 in the morning than living on your government, you guys. But at the same time, the Republicans who tell you go get 3 jobs and pay high rent that's $4,000 a month, they are just as wrong as your friends in the Socialist Democrat Party. Because in the end, the Republicans end up a type of socialist, even worse than a socialist. They end up a communist, you guys, if they want you to live with 8 people and pay $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month or $4,500 and go share your condo or your house with 8 fucking people from El Salvador. That's what Greg Gutfeld, Hannity, Mark Levin would tell you. You know, and if Hush Bimbo were still alive, he would tell you that too, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But I'm just like, hey, baby, let's just make the rent $1,100 or $1,000 a month again like we used to. Now, in 2012, 2013, even 2014, $1,200 was considered really, really bloated high rent. But now you can't even find rent that's $2,200. In 2024, you guys. That's what your friends and the Democrats have done to you with this invasion they've done. But your friends at Fox News, they love cheap labor, high rent, just as much as a Democrat, and then they bitch about it. While Democrats are taxing it, your friends and the Republicans are just, you know, saying vote for Trump and everything will be okay. But they don't really tell you why or how. They just give lip service, kind of like Trump himself does, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255. And I mix all that in with Duke Genesis because when I listen to the lyrics of this album, you know, I see this guy on the cover looking out his window, and that's me. You guys, that's actually a picture of Clark the Shark just looking outside, and my fucking rent is $3,500 a month or some shit. And that's how you fucking end up like that guy. I think they call him Albert or Dilbert or something. The character, the cartoons that appear all over this album. You know, you see the TV and the telephone and how this guy's life is just meaningless. Like all of our lives, right here on the Clark the Shark Show from the Golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys. It's a solid gold Sharkerphone from me, the chosen one, Clark the Shark, the guy who'd give you the shirt off his back, and everyone knows it who knows me. I'm the one you come to, baby, when you need something. But I'm not so sure anymore because, you know, I notice whenever I'm down, there ain't no one there for me. You know, it's weird. And then people are like, yeah, well, he's kind of mean. He's kind of a douchebag. And even though he gave me $400 or $2,000, I don't care. I still don't like Sharky, and I'm not helping him. I want to see him suffer. Kind of like, I'm not saying I do a lot of good, great things for God, but maybe that's how God is towards me, Sharky, and is towards all of you too, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. You know me, you guys. I don't tell you to be humble or any of that. Be yourself. If you got to be a douchebag, be it, above all. But if you find yourself down, email me, Clark the Shark. I don't know if I'll give you a lot at PayPal. It might just be 50 cents or $2 or $3. It's because it's all I got now, you guys. I'm like this guy on the cover of Duke Genesis. I'm just this fat old guy looking out a window at the moon, and the whole thing is a cartoon. It's all a sharkulation, baby. Sometimes I think that's more than me. That's you on the cover of this album. It is, you guys. 1-800-449-8255, The Clark the Shark Show. Buy this album, especially if you were born in 2003, 2 years after 9/11, and you're just a young person. Buy this and learn about this, but buy The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Selling England by the Pound, and then there were 3, Foxtrot, and all those too. After this, I'm not so sure if you should buy ABBA crap or anything moving forwards, or three sides live or 3x3 or whatever. But definitely buy this. It's interesting. Duke Genesis. It's got those boring, mundane Phil Collins vocals, but it's also got plenty of Rutherford noodling and Tony Banks noodling, which is interesting. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, baby. And you tell them at Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, when you buy this album, you tell them that Clark the Shark sent you from the Clark the Shark Show. From the golden EIB Sharkerphone, the Sharkalama Ding Dong Sharkadoodle-Doo, baby. That's where you heard it. And I'm out of here. Peace.